Hey guys, there is a new Linux Daily Driver Challenge video over on LTT's channel. I'm pretty excited about this. Let's take a look and watch it together.
Anything is easy if you know exactly what you're doing. But by the same token, anything can be difficult or even impossible if you lack the requisite skills, resources, or knowledge.
That's the basic premise of this video, where Linus and I, now 3 weeks into daily driving some form of Linux on our personal gaming machines, will change the gears and attempt to complete 12 simple tasks.
So with that in mind, we've set a time limit for each of our tasks of 15 minutes.
Okay, so they have a time limit to do simple productivity tasks, just to make it interesting, to amp up the drama. I've seen a bunch of people in the comments on my videos, like paranoid people who are thinking, oh, they're just amping up drama to make it, blah, 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 to get those precious Linux clicks. Let me tell you one thing and another, all right? If you're a Linux YouTuber, you don't make jack squat from ad revenue in the Linux community, because most of us know how to use ad block, all right? Like, I'm not doing this for the money. I do this because I love what I do, all right? So them amping up drama, I seriously doubt. I think that this is absolutely like sincere on their part. So chill out with your paranoid delusions.
Compared to gaming, basic office work is much more mature on Linux. And for anything that's not straightforward, there's a good chance that you can find a web app to fill the gap. These days, everything from word processing to basic video editing or even creating 3D mockups can all be done in a browser, and often for free.
In preparation for this part of the challenge, I practiced using Play on Linux by installing Notepad++, and I hope that if I really need...
Notepad++ is an interesting choice. It kind of sits in that middle ground between Notepad and something like VS Code. That's interesting that he would go with Notepad++. Anyway, let's continue.
Some other Windows application, that's going to come in handy for me. Here are the challenges you must surmount in whatever order you please. Cut and paste a file from OneDrive. Oh, man, I was expecting them to come up with some stuff that's really challenging. So just like in Windows, Control X, and I will paste it to my Kingston thumb drive. It is done. 3.9 gigs, playing it back. Yes,
That's a weird challenge, just cut and paste a thing from one drive to another.
Trying to install TeamViewer.txt. I'm cutting, and I'm pasting it. Success.
There we go. Only 9 minutes later.
Challenge 2, digitally sign this PDF. I have not specifically installed any kind of PDF reader, so this is the default digitally sign. Oh, this is looking promising. Oh, draw a rectangle to indicate the signature field. Okay. The signature this size is too small to read. No, I'm just gonna sign it. There are no available signing certificates. Okay. Man, I thought I was gonna be done this in like 1 minute.
What the heck is this about? I've never...
How to sign...
I'm assuming I'm not going to be able to sign it because I'm assuming this is just a reader.
What is this challenge?
Document viewer. I know what I use on Windows for this is Sejda. Okay, Sejda. I'm gonna download Sejda just in case this PDF mod thing doesn't work.
I've never even heard of this.
This is what I use on Windows. So let's give this a shot. Sign. New signature. Save.
Literally, when I've done this, I literally just open the PDF in GIMP and then use my draw tablet to write my actual signature on the line. And then I save it back as a PDF and I send it. That's how I do it. Okay, wait, let's just open a random PDF from my drive here. All of the PDFs I have like personal information in it. Oh, okay, here's just a random PDF. So if I instead open this PDF in GIMP, you can import, and then you can just come down here and just pretend I have my, my draw tablet plugged in. I can sign it with my terrible handwriting. And then you can go ahead and export. You can overwrite it. You can export as .pdf. That's what I'd do. And then you do layers as pages. and then make sure, because each layer is going to be its own page, and then you can hit export, and there you go. You signed a document. That's how I'd do it.
Manjaro add PKCS signing certificate.
What is this?
Oh, you can get free trusted certificates from the Let's Encrypt. Oh, or we can use the MKCert tool.
What? What is it? Adding certificates? This turned into an SSL signing? What's going on? Why do you need certificates?
Blah, 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 blah.
What is all
What
that?
commands? All right. It's clear that this is a thing that you can do, and it's something that I could figure out if I had another half an hour, but unfortunately, it's not something.
Like, Linus is a really smart guy, but I think he like makes things a little more complicated than they need to be. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure like what his process was. It looked like he just Googled how to do this, but like when it said there were no certificates available, there was like a link that would probably tell you how to do it if you click the link. Anyway, sorry, Linus.
Thing that is quick or easy. I guess I get 0 points. I should have bailed a couple of minutes ago and switched over to my VM. I failed challenge number 2.
Add a new font.
Oh, that's easy.
I'm assuming this is just dragging it into the fonts folder.
Well, that's not a
Let's do
folder.
this. Nope. I thought it was going to be as easy as just dragging it into this folder, to be honest.
That's not a folder. That's a program.
Install a font. Mint. Or user share fonts true type. There we go. I'm gonna put a font in here.
I remember when
Mission denied. Okay, so open as root.
I remember when I first switched over to Linux and I had to install a font, and I thought it was really confusing because I tried to do kind of what Luke is doing here, where I tried just dragging and dropping, but there's like easier ways to do this. If he like tried to preview the font by like double clicking on it, he would see that there's like an install button that you can just click and it'll install it locally for you, not for the whole system. If you want to install it for the system, you can do what he's doing here. But also I like delete and reinstall Linux maybe every year and a half or 2 years. And by keeping it installed locally for me, I can just move that forward because it's in my home directory and I don't have to worry about like backing up my fonts and whatever. So that's a nice feature.
Done. Now if I load this again. I don't see
A
it.
font. I don't think that's the name of the font, bro. Night
with-
Zone. Yeah, okay.
Sorry, what is this? K font view? Oh, install. Do you want to install the fonts for personal use system-wide? System-wide. Yes!
Print the Word doc. Okay. Here's my Word document.
Oh, printing.
File.
Ooh, this should be good.
Print. Yeah, theoretically. I haven't done any setup for a printer, but this looks like a printer.
Yeah, and he's
So,
got a brother printer, so it should be pretty
let's do
pretty
it.
easy for him. You should just
Okay.
hit OK and it should
Word
print.
document. That was probably the easiest and best printing experience I've pretty much ever had. I didn't detect that printer. I didn't install that printer. I didn't do anything.
Printers. Okay, hold on. Whoa, what was that? Printer HP device manager. What is this? Do I even have an HP printer? It's a Samsung. That's gonna be. Whoa! Are you kidding me? There it is. Samsung CLP 310 series. Okay. Wait. It found a driver! This just worked as far as I can tell, but until I actually see the page, I'm not ready to believe it. We're connecting the printer, waiting for printer. Let's go, Andy. Let's go, Andy. The light's flashing. It's flashing. Come on, CLP. Yeah!
That's awesome. Printers usually are pretty good, especially when you have like a brother. I have an HP printer, and I'm not a big fan of HP printers on Linux. Like they have the drivers most of the time. Like the drivers are pretty straightforward, but they're not like native cups drivers. They're like slightly weird proprietary drivers, and it like really, really irritates the crap out of me. But yeah, I mean, whatever. It's cool that it just worked for them. That's great.
I've never been so happy to see a page printed out of a printer, but actually getting something to print is one of those things that pretty much every time you need to do it, it's like kind of urgent and kind of a pain in the ass. So,
Yeah.
no, I've been through this a lot. Challenge number 6, compress and send all the files on this drive. Okay, compress.
Oh,
Here
there's a
as
nice handy
.zip.
little.
Why is it .zip.uqjqfu? Well, that brings up
That makes me think that it's
nothing.
like a temporary
Put that
folder
there.
or
Goodbye.
file. Oh, what the heck?
Failed to open archive.
Oh, it's still
Not a
it's
zip
still
archive.
compressing.
It's
You
a
can see that
UQJQFU.
you can see the size is still compressing. It's still changing.
Nope, it just is broken.
Why is there
Perfect.
no like dialogue saying that it's
Press
working?
to a zip right here. Create. Let's check top. Gonna make sure things are happening.
Holy crap, Andy, you know what? I think I just fell for the same thing that I said I wouldn't fall for again. Press here as .zip. It was doing it down here.
Oh my god!
I didn't notice.
KDE, dude.
So I guess the 6 characters or whatever here is just random gibberish while it's a temporary file.
This is now uploading. I was kind of hoping that I was going to be able to do every single task in under 15 minutes. The fonts task really slowed me down because I didn't realize the font wasn't called a font. And then this one is slowing me down because it just took a long time to compress and now it's taking a long time to upload.
This is another thing that I definitely can do. It just had some issues. Wait,
The experience of KDE just boggles my mind. Like, I mean, it's good for people who like understand it and who know how to use it and expect how to use it and all that crap. But like for me, boy howdy, I do not understand KDE. Let's see how I would compress a file here. All right, let's just try and compress a couple of these here. And let's go here and look, there's a compress right there. Archive. Hey, it even like picks up on like that Pexels is a common name here between all of them. And I can just say, you know, stock footage .zip, and we can choose different ones, but that's broken. Hello? Let's just hit create. My computer's like misbehaving today. And you can see that we had the progress report here and the stock footage there. There we go. Look at that. That was pretty straightforward. Success. I haven't been doing all of these, but some of them are kind of interesting.
Yellow.
what do you mean by compress and send?
Could that been email it or something?
Well, I mean, there's a 3 gigabyte file in it, so emailing it's not really practical.
Then just don't include that video.
Oh, well, I mean, I already zipped the whole thing, including the video. Cause like, okay, I'm giving myself the points. I could have emailed this to someone. I think that's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, well,
You're the boss, man. That's what James was thinking right there. I don't know. Should he? I mean, he gets the point, right? I mean, it's like literally he's just battling the clock at that point, like whatever, right? But Luke actually did it, so I think Luke gets a point and a half if Linus gets points.
I can do other tasks while I'm waiting. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so
And I love how he's like, I'm gonna do other tasks while I'm waiting for this crap. Like he knows it's done. He's just like fighting the clock, and he's just moving on. He's got other stuff to do. I like Luke. That's funny.
a screenshot. Screenshot. I can do whole
Screenshot.
screen. I can do current window. I can do area to grab. I'm gonna do area to grab.
Screenshots are easy.
And I'm gonna screenshot this. Bang. It just shows up right here. I'm gonna throw it in the Linux challenge folder, and there it is. There's a screenshot. Set up Discord app to open on startup. There's probably, startup applications. Add one, choose application. Discord. Add application. Done. Discord's on
that's
startup
easy.
now. Watch 4K.
I've never done that on Cinnamon, but on On GNOME, you would use the GNOME tweak tool. I can show you. So you would open up GNOME tweaks, bloom, like that. And then you can go to startup applications and you can see Discord's already there. And if I wanted to add a new one, I could scroll down and hit add. We can pick anything we wanted. It's pretty straightforward on GNOME.
This is really cool. If I search for a snipping tool, it actually is like, haha, we don't have that. But we do have Spectacle, which is a pretty cool little screenshotting tool. So you just click take a new screenshot, and then you can drag a little thing, press enter, cool. I did it. Now I have to make a shortcut. Oh man, I got this too. Oh, no, you can't right click it to where you want it and make a shortcut. So no, I will find another way to do that. Link to file or directory. Yes, this is a much better way of doing this. Haha, name for new link. Okay, can I copy the location? Yes, I can. Haha. Hey. Done.
I've like.
How would I make a link? Can you? Yeah, you can't do that. You can do create a link, and then you can just move the link on GNOME. That works.
Never made shortcuts. I don't make shortcuts in Windows either.
Wow. There's no create a link button. Weird. Was there a create a link for Linus when he right-clicked? I wonder if it's in create new. Oh no, that's on the desktop. I wonder if he right-clicks on it, it might just say create link and then you can drag it somewhere. Not the same, but about as much work as doing it on Windows.
Connect to a network share. This is actually crazy easy because while I am using Samba on my Linux NAS, it's a Linux NAS. So yeah, I just click Linus and it will go to my share, just like that.
I actually have my like network share mounted as like a mount point through Samba. And then I have some of my clients, like remote machines, mounted as SSFSH file systems over the internet. So that's actually, you would do that through FSTab, and you'd have to make sure you had your dependencies for SSHFS installed, and also you have your Samba set up correctly.
Set up a Discord app to open on startup. I think it might just do that by default. The first thing I'm gonna do then is just test that. I'm feeling good, Andy. I got this. Hey, okay. Apparently I had already configured this.
It took Luke less time to configure Discord to start up at boot, like doing it the right way, than it did for Linus to like not do it, to not change any settings and just make sure that it actually launched. That's hilarious to me.
So I feel pretty good. Other than digitally signing my PDF, I managed to complete all of my possible challenges. But that doesn't mean that the road to get here was as painless as what you just saw.
I've had a very frustrating issue where any amount of Windows movement, especially if I dare to have an even low performance game like FTL running, will be very laggy.
Whoa, that's weird. I have never seen that before. What do you guys think that is? Let me know down in the comments. Why would that be happening? That's strange. Maybe that's a cinnamon thing. I don't know.
I've had a few fixes suggested to me that maybe helped a little bit. I can't really tell. None of them have fully solved the problem.
Meanwhile, on Manjaro KDE, I've had a relatively smooth experience. I do have little complaints. If all I needed to do was run a web browser, do some basic word processing, I wouldn't have anything to complain about. Installing and managing applications, on the other hand, has made me wish that my Pop! OS experience hadn't been so discouraging. Manjaro has a graphical package manager called PAMAC that allows applications to be installed in a couple of clicks. But by default, it contains only some of the things I need. It can be unlocked to search for Flatpak, Snap, and AUR packages, which dramatically increases its usefulness. But if this Manjaro developer is to be believed, these non-official sources can result in downtime.
the reason that the Manjaro devs are saying that is because the Manjaro devs test the packages that they build for the Manjaro repo to make sure that it works, but they don't test the AUR or Flatpaks or snaps, so they can't guarantee any of it is going to work. But I mean, most of it should work. I mean, the vast majority of it should work, no issues. Oh, wait.
Fortunately, I haven't really encountered that yet, though I have only been at it for a few weeks. But it's this kind of hit or miss functionality that has turned using my computer from something that I do for fun into something that feels more like work. Okay, here's one. Miraculously, the browser source plugin that I needed for OBS was available in PAMAC through the Arch user repository. But the thing is, I ended up only stumbling upon that by finding a post referring to it as I was fighting my way through attempting to manually copy the plugin files into the appropriate system folders, which, in fairness to me, was based on a guide I found and actually got me really close. I was able to launch OBS, but as soon as I tried to actually use that source, it would crash. Now I understand that this is totally a power user thing to do, but it's also absolutely something that a gamer, particularly a game streamer, might need.
I have had the exact same issue when I was like doing regular live streams on Twitch. I wanted to integrate some of the more interesting features that you can have when you have the browser built into OBS. And so I went and had to like manually copy files over into the install directory for OBS. You had to download the plugin and go do that, all that crap. And I had an issue where, you know, it would crash on me. And so I feel his pain with that one.
I wasn't able to install the browser source plugin as easily as Linus was. I did figure out how to get it to work eventually, but in the hardest way possible, because using my Windows brain, I installed OBS by following the commands on their website rather than using my distro's package manager.
Yeah.
If I had actually started with that, the main OBS install would have just included the browser source plugin to begin with.
Yeah, if you're new to Linux, just forget about downloading applications from the website. Like, just go with your package manager, and if it's not in your package manager, then you can look for other options. But always start with the package manager, because usually, I mean, especially on like Manjaro, like Linux that Linus is on, Manjaro is going to have like packages that are like cutting edge, like they're going to be the most up-to-date version you can get, or very close to the most up-to-date version. With stuff like Linux Mint or Ubuntu or even Pop OS, you're going to have a somewhat older version. Though if you're downloading like the Flatpak version rather than like the Deb version, those should be pretty up to date.
In my opinion, it's an unintuitive user experience to not include the browser source plugin by default for all the main ways of acquiring OBS. People have been using this thing for years. It's in there by default on Windows. It is buried under the build instructions tab, but come on.
Honestly, some of my dumbest problems have been caused by my default file manager, Dolphin. Among other things, it does not allow the user to copy anything into a folder that requires administrative privileges, with no obvious way to override it in the GUI. And I've run into this twice so far. Adding insult to injury, the community responses to this user who shared my concern that not everyone wants to copy files using the terminal, and that Linux should allow the user to do what they want to do with their computer.
Well, I'd bet I'm faster typing vim/whatever than you are opening Dolphin and navigating with mouse clicks, even without using the tab completion. But I know that's not your point. Why would you type that? I can see where Linus is coming from with this one. I can see where he's coming from. Linus is coming from the Windows world, right? He's coming from the Windows world where basically anything, you want to delete System32, you can right click on it and go and just hit yes. You know what I'm saying? It's not quite that simple, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Like the amount of times that you have to like go into the Windows files and like mess around with like DLLs and stuff, that actually happens sometimes. On Linux, like besides like the first year or so that I was using Linux and still in that kind of Windows mindset, like I swear to you, I have not modified like /USR or like done any like modifications to like deep system files, except for like configuration files in, you know, in the terminal. Like an example would be FS tab, right? So I can see where he's coming from, but at the same time, he like bypassed the GUI and deleted his entire graphical interface. So, yeah, you should. I mean, I can see where he's coming from. Like, you know, having like the user account control pop up and say, "Are you sure you want to do this? We'll grant you privilege to do this one thing one time. Just click yes." So from what I understand, Dolphin actually cannot be opened as root. That's an issue with Dolphin itself. But and I can see where Linus is coming from. You know, just wanting to click and drag something into a directory. Luke actually did that in this video, right? Because he's on Cinnamon. I think he's using Nautilus or a fork of Nautilus. But yeah, I mean, by the same token, you don't need to do that, because like all you have to do is copy it into your home directory where you already have write permissions. If you're installing a theme, for example, if you're modifying like low level, like system objects and stuff, you're like, there's a better way to do it. And it really depends on what you're trying to do. Like if you're trying to install like a missing .so or something, there are better ways to do it. Like modifying the files yourself in the Linux install is not the way that you should be doing it. Like the system isn't designed in a way to accommodate users doing that unless you know what you're doing. Like the package manager should be doing that for you. And honestly, like that's not his fault. Like he's coming from a different way of thinking about things, right? Like it's just a completely different world when you're on the Linux side of computing. But I hope I'm not coming off as like condescending
And stubborn things that I've had the displeasure of reading throughout this challenge. Now, I lost my link to the tweet, unfortunately, but I saw an interesting criticism of this series that basically accused me and Luke of intentionally smearing Linux and its developers because we were going to come into this with a basic Windows gamer perspective and try to do things the way that they do things.
That's like almost everyone's perspective, bro. Like, what are you talking about? The basic Windows user experience, like the basic Windows gamer outlook on how to use a computer. That's almost everyone's experience with a computer. Like, what are you talking about? Like, if you're a Linux user, you're the odd one out, man. Like not the basic Windows noob. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, newsflash, guys, that's most people.
Yeah, that's
and if
most
you
people.
legitimately, like in your heart of hearts, want Linux desktop to grow, you need to accommodate those people.
Linus, I do have to say here, a lot of the people who have that kind of perspective don't want Linux to grow. Like they're going to move on to BSD or maybe Haiku or something when people like you, Linus, come over to Linux, because it'll get too popular and they won't be happy about it. Like that's, I mean, honestly, I want Linux to grow. It sounds like you want Linux to grow. So, but people who say those kind of things don't want Linux to grow. They want it to be an exclusive little boys club, and that sucks. But that's how they are.
You can sit there and go, "Am I out of touch?" No, it's the users who are wrong. But you're literally a meme at that point.
Yeah.
The only question is whether you're self-aware or not.
Well, that depends. I strongly believe that enthusiast distros for advanced users should stay advanced. There is immense raw potential in an unfettered experience. That being said, not everything fits under that umbrella. There are distros out there more for gamers or inexperienced users, so for those systems, we really hope that there's a lot of good that can come from us doing this.
I think there has been
also
already.
don't want to paint everyone in the Linux community with the same brush, because it's a diverse bunch of people with a wide range of experience with Linux.
Definitely.
People like Wendell from Level 1 Techs, Jason Evangelo from Linux for Everyone, and Gardiner Bryant.
Wait, what? Oh,
From Gardiner Bryant have been inviting and
wait, did he just laugh at me? What?
range of experience with Linux. People like Wendell from Level 1 Techs, Jason Evangelo from Linux for Everyone, and Gardiner Bryant from Gardiner Bryant.
Oh, I think he almost said the Linux gamer. Wait, dude. Oh, wow, okay. Thanks for shouting me out, guys. I'm a little embarrassed. I don't know if you can tell, my face is all red.
Have been inviting and supportive, not just to us, but to fans of the channel following in our footsteps, which is super cool. But
Something that the good eggs in the Linux community need to understand, though, is that you guys are great, and there's lots of you. It's just that it only takes a couple of toxic gatekeepers to turn people off.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta remember, it's not always easy for people to reach out and ask for help. And if a literal developer of their distro goes out of their way to type extra unnecessary words to be condescending when they could have just pointed the user to the resources that they needed, it is extremely damaging to the good work that the majority is trying to do.
Yeah.
And there has been so much of that good work on display throughout this project.
That was awesome. My battery in my camera is about to die. So I just wanted to say thank you for shouting me out. What the heck? I wasn't expecting that. Wow. Okay. Great videos. I am loving this series. Honestly, I think Luke and Linus are doing a really good job of highlighting things from a perspective that we as Linux users don't often get to see. And it's one of the reasons I think that having some level of like telemetry in Linux would make a lot of sense to improve the experience for normal people, especially like the basic Windows gamer perspective, whatever that tweet was about. But that's going to do it for now. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you being here. My battery is going to die in my camera, so I'll see you guys in the next one.